I think Flandra's been pulling out more and more regularly. I'm going to turn the camera off here as we head towards the Rift. We'll listen to the gyos shortly. And keep an eye on that Vayne pick, because I agree it could be quite an interesting one to track on to move this little block around as well when we get there.
Yeah. Ward's coming out. I mean, just defensive wards through the river. There's not likely to be all that much early aggression as it pertains to the junglers, both heading to the bot side where it is the double range matchup. It does make a lot of sense. Pretty typical. Early lane, Lucian Milio, actually one of the few duos that can match the power of the Ashe Seraphine, and in fact generally is a winning matchup for the early stages of the lane, at least the first recall.
You reckon? I mean, I can sort of see it, right? You just got the early shove, right? Because you just double your damage is just higher, right? Especially for things like the cleanse and the full ability to get through to, like, I need a little bit more ability haste on Lucian to get my second E off, and it's not quite there. We're chatting with Pillow in chat the other day about that one. Nice exhaust there from Flandra. Cube doing a decent trade, and this will be an interesting one to track, because again, earlier on in the split, when WE was still struggling, Cube was hard forcing the Jace. It was getting banned away from him. It was like the one part of the map which was looking okay. The problem was Cube on carry looking okay is not necessarily what WE are wanting out of this player, especially as the rest of the map was collapsing around them. We'll see whether it looks a bit better here in the game one. I mean, if you look at WE's draft and take the nameplates off, they've got a killer draft. Wukong with the Orianna behind. Flandra about to get ganked at the level 2 here because the Wukong got behind him. This needs to be a very good condemn. He flashes forwards, so we'll still have the Nimbus Strike, and I think Flandra is going to at least be forced to burn something here. Nimbus Strike first blood. Monkey gets out. That was very cleanly done. Might drop a camp or two here, but hey, it's Vi. Her ability to invade is a little bit minimal. You might drop a blue buff here, but you can see her is going to go over and put a ward down and try and zone off this Vi.
Yeah, interesting. I wonder if it was an active decision to sort of allow the shove to come towards the Lucian Milio, because you can certainly force yourselves to get that shove, but maybe realizing that Monkey's looking for something aggressive after that exhaust was used in the top side by Flandre. It means they are just going to pull back so they can defend the rest of their camps. Blue buff was taken by Tarzan, so it is at least something claimed in response. He's going to look towards the Gromp as well, but it's a smite versus no smite. Should be fine for Monkey to pick up if he needs to, and he is going to drop it.
Yeah, won't manage to make that one happen. We'll get the top of the bot side Scuttle Crab though, and this makes things a bit interesting because I think the Wukong's going to need to do Wolves and then get top side Scuttle, because he really doesn't want to drop 2 camps here or things get a lot trickier. That was 0% win rate for the record for WE across every one of their champions on screen, by the by. We got a little distracted, of course, by the fact that Cube and Monkey found a really nice little play onto Flandra. Of course, everyone blew their summoners up there, so worth keeping our eyes on that. The Vayne, without summoners, pretty vulnerable, but then again, it is a Jace on the other side. You get the wrong condemn. Things can still go a little awry. Obviously, I was a little bit distracted doing some tech stuff, so I've not had the most opportunity to actually chat with you about where you're thinking these comps are. I'm looking at AL, I'm seeing, okay, we can play towards the Vayne and the top side with the Vi and the Rise if we want to. You've got double global of the Ashe ult, Rise ult, all that kind of stuff. And obviously, if you want to play the 4/5v5, you've also got, like, Vi's, Rise, Ashe, Seraphine. Feels like a pretty good team comp in terms of team fighting. But then I look at the other side and I'm seeing pretty good poke from the Jason the Lucian. I'm seeing Ori Wukong. Like, that's not exactly a weak set of champions to be playing in a 5v5 either.
Yeah, absolutely. I think ultimately both team comps are perfectly acceptable, but I do favor WE's slightly. I think playing around the mid lane waves with the Lucian Milio is a lot easier. It also scales better, which is not often something you say about the Lucian, but because Milio is there, it is a very good scaling pick in that sense. There's also not really anyone that can tank a culling. So when you get to those sort of dances that you get around the river just naturally, any good culling can truly just turn a fight. And I think now, especially after seeing the context of the game, finding out that Cube's ahead, it really does just put WE in such a commanding position at such an early stage. And Fandra's going to take some more pressure here and might actually just have to concede more minions. And in a volatile matchup, this is a disaster for Flandre.
Oh my days, got hit by the shot blast of the Scorch, nearly took him out. He's on 11 HP. Oh my days. Flandre is locked in the Vayne and is now going to be half the CS of this Jace.
It's just a very volatile Vayne matchup that you've made even more volatile while realizing your jungler's pathing bot. Like, you know the other jungler's path is on the top side starting. You don't know if he's going to come to your lane, so you can't really afford to make it volatile. And because he's done it, he's really paying the price. And I think WE have done a great job of recognizing the misstep and just continuing to punish that pain point.
Yeah, I agree. I think it looks pretty damn excellent. Indeed. Vi gonna charge up her Q. Yeah, it should be all right.
Without the level 6, it isn't the greatest threat in the world, and ultimately you can just kick a soccer ball in his face to stop that Q if you need to.
Indeed. That'll be the one. Again, you just kick a big fireball at someone, which is a very normal thing to do in a normal state of affairs. You know, like, and so you know what I think of when I see someone charging at me very angrily with a giant power fist? Kick a fireball at them, you know?
Yep. Oh, it's the greatest counter in the game, potentially.
It's actually
crazy.
Strong.
The amount of
very good.
It's this. Milio's Q is such a great disengage tool. Obviously, if you miss it, you are very, very vulnerable. But to things that have a long-range engage, it's one of the best disengages in the game outside of maybe Janna. So
yeah. I mean, ARAM enjoys out there as well. It's 120% AP scaling. So if you want to build AP Milio and ARAM, I'm telling you now, that kick will hurt.
Level 6 should come through now for Tarzan as he finishes up the dragon. Also, importantly, it is the first dragon of the game. So very, very early on as well. Means there is threat of an early Dragon Soul win condition, but I think ultimately conceding that to pick up camps is perfectly fine for Monkey here because they do have control for the early stages of this game. Tarzan's going to look for more down here, but quickly realize there's nothing on offer.
Yeah, the Rise is also roaming, so it would have been tricky, I think, in general. So that would have been, I think, a step far. They got between the turrets here. This gets a bit interesting. I think About's going to get himself shielded and try and dash towards these minions, which they do successfully.
Yeah, well played. Not the easiest situation to navigate, but...
Yeah, just keep an eye on that top side, because again, Vayne just had her summoners up and Monkey was around, but I think Tarzan back. I'll leave that one alone. That'll be the way that one kind of levels out. And I suppose this one, while we got a bit of a quiet downtime, you were saying you reckon the Milio outscales the Seraphine, but I would have thought that Seraphine in a 5v5 with just her, like, AoE shielding, Echoes of Helia, potentially a Diadem of Songs, you know, the usual shielding, healing, enchanter items. Surely the AoE shielding and healing outscales the Milio would have been my initial thought process, as actually, wait, a bit of a bot lane play. We don't actually have time to natter about that, about trading with the barrier and the culling. And Kyle looks for the Goncore, won't land it as a good dash away. Now Ura is in danger, remember, doesn't have the flash, still doesn't have the heal, and that means Hope and Kyle get the 2v2 kill. And now look who else is here. Shanks with the Ghost with the Realm Warp. Doesn't even need to use that R button, I apologize. I assumed he took that opportunity, but no, just ran on over and gets the other bot lane. AL get 2.
Yeah, a bit of a disaster down there. I think ultimately when your support is only the level 4 versus level 6, you can't afford to be trading that aggressively, but they're trying to find something back. Tarzan, he's locked up by that Cyclone. Blue buff taken away, the flash is there.
Can look for a bit more. The Nimbus strike in, gets the crushing blow, and that evens things up. Stuck around there, think he get the blue buff, but Monkey with the invis, with the shockwave on top of him, punishes well.
Yeah, so I mean, interesting. I think early game kills going over to the Wukong is actually really, really impactful because this Wukong champ isn't going to die that easily to what we see from the AL comp for the near future, right? And it is also, especially when you have these Void Guards coming up, going to be very important. Tarzan loses ult as well, but the lane swap does come through, so trying to put the stronger bot lane up in this top side to guarantee those grubs might be able to, I guess, force the issue that they will get them. But it is going to come at the cost of that quest for the top lane, which means that XP is going to be a bit of a pain point for Flandre continuing forward.
Yeah, he's already down like 30-odd CS. In some ways, the damage there is done. Flandre's going to try and come up with a final out to get towards this turret. Eats a lot of damage, gets kicked into the wall. Does get the exhaust down, but About's going to buy it and time this one out. The Culling's a few seconds off back, by the way. Eyes on that. Flandre getting dive, flashes away. Had to burn the exhaust and the flash. Ura burns his flash again, but again, Flandre now, his ability to stick under this turret with Karis and the Wukong from Monkey roaming is going to be limited. He's losing another wave.
Another wave lost here, and probably some in the future because he lost both of his sums to try and get that wave. So this is a really, really rough position as Cube now going to be pressured. Shanks on the roam up. This should just be a dead Jace.
It is. He can go to the skies potentially. They're still waiting. Clears out the majority of the wave, but will likely die and does indeed fall. Flandre survives and has to lose the wave. Cube gets the wave but dies doing it. Ura was on the reset but wasn't there. Still 30 seconds away on the timing.
Yeah, Shank's doing a great job, ultimately, of controlling that mid wave and finding his roam timers. Only losing 2 plates as well means they haven't even really paid a cost for it whatsoever.
No.
To now find Hope and Kale in such a great position.
Is this different than the Onivia stream? It's the original stream, by the way. Jit. The Onivia is a restream. It's one that's endorsed by us, so it's certainly something we're happy to do. We're live on Onivia's channel, but that you're on the sort of the OG channel right now is where you're at in the YouTube. Also the Twitch, which is the OG, if that makes some sense. There you go. Well, I've seen a few chats here as well, chatting about like, oh no, Cube's Chase, oh no, about her on the Lucian Millia. To be fair, guys, I think this is not the same team playing these champions as it was, say, right at the beginning of the split, where they went 0-16. So, you know, I understand there is some nerfs, and WE may still lose this game, but, you know, bear in mind that perhaps a clean slate is earned at this point over the last couple of weeks of play.
Yeah, and I never touched on your question from before about the Millia versus Seraphine. And I think you are correct in a strict team fighting aspect. The Seraphine is going to be sort of outscaling the Millia, right? It just has more AoE abilities to impact the fight. But the thing that Millia is underrated for, I guess, and why he scales so well, and you see this sort of matching in sort of win rate per game time, is that it cannot be understated just how strong giving your AD carry extra damage from extra range is as the game progresses. That is the one thing that Millia does that no one else in the game does, and it is such a strong thing. Like, you already know, like, there's times where if you get caught by 2-3 auto attacks from AD carry, you're pretty much dead. Millia gives you access to being able to do that from a much safer distance.
Speaking of safe distance, AL and Hope might be finding themselves at an unsafe distance. The flash is burned. They'll get the root, but I don't think it'll turn into anything more. All the while, in the picture-in-picture, Karis got caught out by Shanks and Tarzan. Tarzan's been left low. I think the shockwave landed on him, and the fact that Tarzan is so low probably will cost them this dragon, actually. So kill for dragon probably becomes the weird trade here in the grand scheme of things. Yeah,
costed the cease and desist as well, so I think ultimately a decent trade. It's a trade that I wouldn't necessarily complain about. You do lose a wave in the mid lane as well, of course, but ultimately you get the bot lane flash, you get their ults, well, at least the Ashe ult, and also the Vi ult for a dragon and 1 death. I mean, I'm pretty happy with that if I'm WE ultimately.
Yeah, I think so too. And again, the fact that we are... WE's early games have been much improved. Here's a look at this picture-in-picture. Karis on the roam, spots out Tarzan, and Shanks says, right, we're doing this. And they force them with the ults.
Yeah, wow. Honestly, maybe even having an avenue to clear the distance if he doesn't get CC'd by the dragon, which...
I mean, not bad play kind considering he put himself in a crappy position in the river, right? He's like, I've roamed. And Tarzan's gone, yeah, but you face-check me. How's that look working out for you?
Yeah, I'm surprised he was able to trade back so much, and I think, honestly, the concussive blows, proccing Dragon was actually what costed him the guaranteed death there. Then probably dies anyway, but there is an avenue where he might be able to get to his Milio and live.
You know what? I'm going to call you out, because it's denting blows on Vi, concussive blows is Braum, you know?
That's right, yes, that's right. I knew it was one of the two. They have so many names like that. It's like strikes as well. There's a lot of just random strikes in the game.
Yeah, without warning.
Yeah, true. True. That's an oceanic creator right there.
Phenomenal. Also, the fact that they're actually a really sick dancer as well. So when they pull off the League dance moves videos, superb. What's not superb here is Shanks having to give the majority of the turret plates. I'm not sure who's got the grubs, but looking at the damage, probably is still going to be AL because I don't see any grubs spawning there, but might be a 2-for-1 split. I just didn't notice. Always a possibility. Got about 30 seconds until Herald, and I wonder whether we'll have a little contest around that. Flandre has managed to get to the Hex Plate, but is still down about 40 CS, and that is not a fantastic position to be in. Jace's already gotten to the Ghost Blade, is building towards the Muramana. We sometimes see a little bit of the Voltaic Cyclosaur, which is obviously very good on the Jace, but I think in this game where you're trying to outspace and outspeed quite a lot of people who want to either jump on you like the Vi, or slow you down like the Ashe, the move speed is probably fairly valuable. You can see that as locked in with the Storm Raiders Surge as well. And hey, your 1v1 matchup will be the Vayne, who is absolutely looking to run at you.
Yeah, I think Voltaic, if you can play it, is just the better item, but I agree with you. I think the movement speed is too valuable this game. And so, correct decision. Interesting to note as well, that, I mean, objectives are somewhat in favor of AL, right? In terms of those neutrals, they're getting the Rift Shield now, already got the 3 grubs, which isn't as OP on this patch as it is live. But tower plates, as well as towers with that bot lane falling, is well and truly in favor of WE. And so that's a lot of gold that actually is in favor. You're seeing it there, almost 2k as that next plate will go down. And so a really good position as it culling.
Yeah, speaking of Lucian Milio holding mid lane waves and playing off them, you were saying you really like that combo. We have obviously seen a lot of that from LCP and LPL respectively, and now they're going to look to punish as Hope is trapped over the far side of the wall. They can't defend this turret. They can't walk past the Orianna ball particularly freely. Kyle's desperate to get a high note onto that wave. Can't, and WE pick up another turret quite convincingly. Will now look to punish the TP top side though. This could get spicy. Orianna TPs, but the Wukong's on the right.
Okay, he doesn't fall there. I was a little worried seeing the Vi in the area, but with the protection coming there from Monkey heading up in the northern direction, it's going to be fine to collect that wave. Blinder's going to have to back off, and it is just continuing to mount that gold lead, and Cube has very quickly become the major threat on the Rift for both teams.
Yeah.
Also, important to note, a phenomenal Serpent's Fang buyer. Which, when you are against things like the Ashe Seraphine, is really, really important. You can somewhere incorporate it into your team comp. So I really do like this.
This is going to be 5 members top. They're trying to bait this in. Shanks is well known. They need to be so careful. Monkey jumps in. Where's the shockwave? Number 2 can pull them back. Shanks left low, but a flash for the encore and the shielding. 5 members here, and WE thinks they had the bait. It's well read by anyone's legend. Rest of WE now turn up, but they've lost 2 already. The shock blast hurts. Tarzan gets into the Herald. He might be looking for more here. This is the Battle Herald angle, but he decides instead to angle it into this turret. Goes quite deep to get over here though. Cube goes low but not down. The TP in. They've blown up Tarzan, and the re-engage with Shanks coming on in will make this pretty spicy. I apologize. It's Flondra about with the shielding, desperate to hold the line, cannot. And AL come away with, I believe, 4 over the course of the whole affair.
Yeah, they do manage to pick up a 3. I think Cube did manage to live at the very start, but it's still 3 for 2 and a tower. So it is a winning trade coming out of WE. Top lane did use their teleport as well as Cube did come in. They just didn't realize the sheer massive numbers up here, and it is punished so well by AL. Realizing something's amiss, Shanks is able to just narrowly escape. Cube somehow living from this position, getting that Storm Raiders flashing off to his Milio. And they do get the tower, they get a second crash. Tarzan does pay for it, and he probably doesn't have to die here ultimately, but still a positive trade for them.
Back to life for around the dragon. Speaking of positivity, how about some positive bloodbaths? I'm always a fan of those. We're going to come over towards this river, and a fight over the vision commences.
Yeah, it is good for AL that they got set up in the river first, trying to push into the Jace, into the Milio with the shockwave.
That's pretty disgusting. Monkey's just full sending at those short-range flashless members. That poor Rise had no ability to step forward, and Shanks gets, well, shanked. Not to put too fine a point on it now. They can turn towards the dragon with the man advantage, and no real way for AL to contest any further.
What an insane game. And also, by the way, I think it has to be majoritively for the ult cooldown. We have an experimental hex plate on Wukong. Is this something the LPL does a lot? This is the first time in my life I've ever seen that.
Sorry, I blanked on that. I thought it was on the vein. No, that's not. But it is Monkey, who's always been one of our more creative players. Honestly, I don't hate it this game. You're into a lot of squishy members. Just saying, you know what? It's going to give me HP. It's going to give me... so I'm going to get some defensive stats anyway. I don't need a black cleaver. I just need to ult more often.
Yeah, you also get more... Oh, no.
That's fine. A few. I thought there was still hit there. I got paid hit by the observers.
Yeah. Oh. It's kind of cool. It also gives them more E cooldown, as well as something interesting to note, and we'll come around more.
Here comes the potential angle back. Karis gets the shield. Monkey's going to buy a lot of time. Gets the double warrior trickster. Shanks left a little low. Can't quite get the kill. The command attack.
Cyclone.
There's the Cyclone back up shortly. Monkey at least trades back. Overcomes about. And the rest of WE and AL have overloaded. And unfortunately fried their own systems as they tried to send multiple members top. It goes wrong again. And WE... where's this team been? What has changed in their chemistry? Because from inert, they are looking volatile and dangerous.
Gonna start up on this Baron and Cyclone back up. I was excited to see if it came up in time to save the Orianna. Not quite Tarzan is in the area, though. A potential steal could come through. Hope without that Seraphine in the pocket is going to find this a lot harder.
Ooh, damage onto Hope is disgusting. They turn back onto Tarzan happily enough, and they back away. Flandra gets hit by the Super Mega Blaze Kick. Monkey goes back in with an Nimbus Strike and the Crushing Blow. Health bars low. Probably a little bit dicey to continue on with the Baron, but I think in many ways they get more gold, they get more summoners. Ashe without flash or barrier will have the flash in particular down for the dragon fight, which would be sole point for WE. And looking at this game, you give a Hexal to the Fed Jace. I mean, it's lights out.
I'm a little bit perplexed by this Vayne pick now, especially, I mean, it's already like a losing lane matchup in theory. You've misplayed, and now it's just completely useless. It's going to be so long until Flandre is actually able to do much. You see there, as soon as he's engaged on by anyone, he just spends the time ulting and trying to run away.
Yeah.
It's leaving so much to be desired. And a lot for Hope to try and do, which he can't do without Flash.
No, he can't. It's very difficult. Hope's actually in a pretty good spot. Got the early 2v2 kill, right? They've played this well. They've had a good showing so far. About, obviously, back in a decent position himself. He's got the Essence Reaver and the Infinity Edge. Will be very potent coming into this fight. But, you know, on that conversation of Flandre, he's played this into the Jace before, I believe, and done very well in that matchup. This has definitely been the absolute opposite of that, and I think, obviously, it's a very volatile matchup, and it's gone very wrong. The early gank from the Wukong, more than anything else, I think, really put the Vayne well out of reach of a normal laning phase, shall we say. But even so, this is poor even with that in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the problem when you go for these volatile matchups that are like, if you make one mistake, you kind of are just out of the game, is you just can't afford to make a mistake. Whereas on the Jace side of things, you make one mistake, okay, sure your lane gets a little bit harder, but you're still going to be Jace when it comes to these river fights. And so now we just have Cube walking around. He's only a K up now. It was 2K before, so with those 2 kills earlier picked up by Flandre, closed that a little bit. But you're seeing how difficult it is to walk anywhere that Cube is.
Yeah, and the problem is, like, who else got the kills? It's Monkey, who's 5-1, by the way. I said, look, Tarzan's going to be able to manage him, surely. Monkey has basically just taken down BLG in a 5-game Michael Bay cinema experience. He's now going up against arguably the greatest jungler of all time. Yes, there's people like Canyon in that conversation. Not going to deny it. Canyon probably takes it. But, you know, someone else who could very happily put a name in that hat and people go, you know what, fair, is Tarzan, who's been so good across so many teams and has been so damn consistently elite for that long. Going up against him and is now 30 CS up, 5-1, has outplayed and outthought Tarzan repeatedly in this game. We like the build, we like the play, and I think I like their odds in this game.
Yeah, going Death Dance as well next, by the looks of things, so just becomes all that much harder to deal with. Gives him a lot more sticking power as well. Doesn't really have all that much in regards to healing to sort of negate the burn effect outside of getting the kills, which, in fairness, has been happening, so should be getting those cleansers through. Also hasn't upgraded the boots yet.
Got the Death Dance in. The Shock Blast have hit Kyle twice and dropped him to about half. In goes Monkey. Does take a lot of damage, but can still get the second cycle. Look at the cup. The culling on the other side. Kyle left low. Monkey goes in. Keeps trying to trade with Hope. Does fall. A little bit too deep, but now Flandre's left alone. Will surely go down. Into the backline we look. AL left for desperately low. They go into the skies. It's a 2 for 2 as it stands. Cube
no.
Back goes Ura. Looking for the blade. Keeps AL from resetting. Dash on forward. Flash with the relentless pursuit. Shanks has to get out. 4 members fall from AL. It's a little bit messy from WE as they put their bodies on the line, but they get what they came for.
What an insane passage of play. I just witnessed a flanking Milio to seal the deal on that play and secure a sole point for WE. This team is playing so unhinged, and it might be the most beautiful League of Legends I've ever watched. I mean, Monkey just sees and Monkey goes. Tarzan trying to turn it around, but that cleanse from Milio, giving him that uptime. Able to get the kill. The culling just destroys Kale's health bar. Monkey not quite able to finish the kill, but does more than enough to ensure that WE able to complete this play. Shanks, credit to him, able to find an immediate burst onto Cube. Gets himself out, but here it is. On the flanking Milio.
Look, when people ask, what do you want him to do? He's on a Milio. This is what I want you to do if you're on the Milio. Come on, commit to the kick to the head. I mean, the fact that he gets the kick and then flashes away from Shanks' overload to stop all of that damage coming on forwards, because, you know, Shanks is still despite the scoreline, I think also pretty potent here at this point on the Rise. You are very much at risk of just getting comboed down by the Rise. I think that Flash is probably very wise and gets away with it well. Hope, you know, still 2.5 items, all these kinds of things. I'm just looking at WE and I'm seeing 3-item Lucian, 3-item Wukong, 3-item Jace, who's now got the Voltaic Cycler Sword to follow everything else. I think a Serpent's Fang follows, and we start getting very, very nervous about the grand scheme of things. Karis has also gone for a very burst-heavy build on the Orianna. Look, 0, 3, and 8 ain't that exciting, but you get hit by a Shockwave with a Luden Shadow Flame, you will die here. There's no one else who's realistically going to be able to afford magic resist right now.
Yeah, it's a pretty bleak state of affairs, and I mean, all really, and whether or not they do this is yet to be seen, but all we need to really do is wait. Keris, unfortunately, I mean, no business being there with this whole team on the top side.
Yeah, but that will possibly cost them Baron. They send multiple members, but including the jungler. So that just gives the free license. I think this will just get burned down. There's no realistic way to come and contest this. In comes the Realm Warp. The Encore is good, but the Baron is secure. Now they get very happily. So the Breath of Life denies all of that CC chain that the Ashe and Seraphine are so known for.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's just a well-played passage. Realizing that there was an overcommitment to take down that Orianna on the bottom side, immediately pulling the trigger on the Baron. A lot of damage. I mean, that's all there really is in this game, is just damage. And so they are able to take it in time. They also get the teleport away from Flandre, and that's the quest teleport. So a 7-minute cooldown for Flandre, who wants to be in the side lanes as it is, but has to contest for this dragon. That is a really rough position to be as this Vayne.
I mean, as managed to actually somehow undo the 40 CS lead he was down, by the way, and it's actually managed to drop the gold lead to about 630. I think Cube is still in a very happy position, and basically the rest of the team has been able to pick up the farm that he's been dropping to join the team a little bit more regularly. I think Monkey's also got quite a lot of it. But hey, Flandre doing that, focusing so hard and catching back up, means he's not around really for these fights in the way I think they would like him to be. And now WE can continue to extend this gold lead, so point is very much theirs. They get these inner turrets, and WE will now look at this bot lane tier 2 with avarice in their eyes.
Yeah, slow pushing 2 lanes with the Baron makes it a lot more steady, I suppose. Less vulnerable members to be targeted by something like the Vi and the Realm Warp, so I think it makes a lot of sense in this game. Taking down one more plate remaining on that bot side tower. Already the mid lane up to that inhibitor tower at this point. Monkey continuing to play around this jungle, clear out that vision.
Yeah, about like that one.
Chunk of damage.
Yeah, it gets 2/3 of Hope's up health bar. Now they can look at this tier 3. The inhibitor turret very much about to fall. We'll get the replay as the arrow came on forwards, and Lucian just dashed away from it and took the punish opportunity. Inhibitor falls. Cube shoves up this bot lane wave so they can rotate over towards it. WE in the base looking to force an awkward flank angle.
Now, trying to pressure, there isn't really the threat of a dive, I don't feel. Just not quite tanky enough to actually threaten that properly. And so, just trying to get that minion wave in. There's no minion wave for now, just that one cannon which Shanks will clear away. Trying to walk up and meet before the tower as well.
Flandre's
be very careful though, WE.
Yeah, they're going to go in. Monkey gets jumped on, but Cyclone's well. The Breath of Life buys time, and Monkey just doesn't take any meaningful damage. A second Cyclone. Shanks goes in with the Realm Warp. There's an exhaust out, but Shanks again falls. It's a little deep. Flandre desperately needs to run away. The tumble does get good damage. They blow up Cube, who went looking for the play, and now the Seraphine shields begin to become a little bit more problematic. It's a 1-for-1 right now, and Karis goes golden. I'm not really sure why. Flashes away, dodges some of the damage, gets hit by the beetle, but about back in. Can't kill Tarzan. The arrow's back off cooldown. Monkey with the Nimbus strike gets the last crushing blow. Auto desperate to drive flash on him. The test starts healing. It's ridiculous. Deaths, dance, Wukong. They win the fight. They scrap. They bring him down into the mud and drown AL in it. A couple inches is all they needed, and they take the whole mile. WE win game 1 against anyone's legend. Their miracle run continues unabated.
Already taking down BLG and 1 step of the way now to taking 8 AL. WE might have the most meteoric rise to MSI out of any team.
Resets and having people come from weird angles off resets, and I don't think that teams have been particularly respectful of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, it's a great team comp for both teams, and it is hard, I think, like, for both teams. If ever Monkey, I think in particular, oversteps, then he can just get blown up. But it's the same for pretty much everyone on AL, inclusive of this Rek'Sai. There is a lot of damage coming through from this this Neferi, and a lot of isolated sort of a single target damage as well, that Neferi doesn't ever get that tanky, right? He gets a lot of health, but he doesn't get that tanky in terms of those resistances, so he will fall pretty quickly to the champions of WE. Even this Ezreal will be perfectly capable of dealing with a Rek'Sai continuing through to the later stages of this game.
Yeah, I agree. We'll get a bit dicey. Welcome back, Amber, by the way. Good to see you. Hope does immediately take a nasty trade there as the exhaust comes on through from about. Exhaust on Ezreal, very potent in the early stages with your lethal tempo and your ability to just keep hitting people from miles away with your Qs. Does a lot of work on that one. And that is going to be...
Yeah, I think credit.
Yeah, a fair deal on that one. Sorry, so I've interrupted you there. Got distracted by chat.
I think it's like credit to the bot lane here of WE for applying so much pressure and having such a positive trade. Of course, it does cost them the exhaust, which is a slightly longer cooldown than the barrier, but still getting that early trade, getting a great sort of first recall off is always the hardest part of bot lane. Once you get those first recalls through, bot lane typically becomes a lot easier to play for both sides. You're able to trade just that much more health. There still isn't really that much damage to deal with the health you get naturally, and so being able to win in the earlier stage of this lane, it typically does bode well for the remainder of the game. Yeah,
it does. And I think WE's early games was the thing that started to show up first when we started to see inklings of WE turning the ship around. They started to be able to get early 1,000-2,000 gold leads against Ascend teams, and that was including the upper tier teams. They managed to take games off people like JDG, having started early snowballs, and that... it was a good sign for them. It's now turned into something a lot more competitive. They're not perfect. We've seen the fumbles in the mid game as they sometimes overforce some plays, maybe don't do all the due diligence in their rotations. I see you, Karis and Era, but they have still managed to get themselves to a point where they are a legitimate threat, and they start off this game again with an early few hundred gold lead. It's modest, but it is a good start. I know there was a little point in chat saying, "Oh, Flandre off comfort," and I'll push back on that one a little bit as well. Flandre may not have played it a little bit recently, but it's been a massive Rek'Sai top enjoy. It was arguably the only good Rek'Sai top in the world. Lots of other people tried it and fumbled it.
Oh, absolutely. At Worlds, he was undeniably the best Rek'Sai top at the most recent World Championship. He was incredible on the pick. And again, I mean, like, similar to what you see now, is he does typically go down a bit of CS on the pick, but his team fighting, his awareness of where he needs to be, which on Rek'Sai is actually pretty hard. Like, you have so many decisions to make in the middle of a fight to actually team fight effectively on the champion, but he has consistently been able to do so, at least at the Worlds. So I have full faith in him being able to do so in what is ultimately a very easy matchup for the Rek'Sai.
Monkey did just get double scuttled, by the way, while this is happening. He's going to try and hop over into this scuttle crab. Does have smite, so does Tarzan. Makes this a bit interesting. Flandre's coming on over, really wants this scuttle. This Krugs will get it, but then there's a flash in and he dies for it, so really not worth it in the grand scheme of things. Flandre comes on over, and Monkey really felt the need to try and get in and not fall too far behind, and gets punished for it.
I wonder what happened to cause Monkey's clear to be so slow. Because his clear was substantially slower than that of Tarzan's, and Neferi is a reasonably quick jungle clearer for the first clear. So I wonder if he somehow accidentally reset a camp or something weird happened.
Shanks has to flash, does survive the flash charm, goes wide as Shanks gets a good sidestep, but still has to burn the flash in the grand scheme of the trade.
Yeah, not a bad trade. Certainly punishable as well. A lot more mobility when you hit level 6 here for the Ahri, where Shanks will be lacking.
Flandre doing the Kled tricks of stack up the wave, go in, get demolished, back away. Can do that into the side. Kled does it by having insane base HP because of Skarl, and that gives your demolished procs a lot of value. A shout out to Finn, who we did a little segment on LEC about that. But obviously here, less of the concern, as we will be looking at Dragon, the other side of the map. Tarzan starting that one up. Monkey looking to go topside. Punish Flandre, of course. Burned the flash to get involved. Murdering Monkey. There's the tunnel away. The Scion ult comes on in. The knock-up will be there from both, looking to try and Void Assault forwards, and will likely still die here. Void Rush, I apologise. There's no Kha'Zix to be found. Finds another knock-up, but Monkey gets the kill and takes his red buff back. It's still off cooldown.
Yeah. They do lose Dragon for it, but it is a good pickup, and it is on to probably who you want it to be on most, ultimately, in this composition. So getting that answer back, Flandre as well will be able to teleport to receive most of the wave, but nonetheless a good find. He doesn't actually pay for it in terms of his camps as well, which I think is important. I think actually maybe he did lose the Raptors, as he's going to recall head to those Krugs in the bottom side of the map. But again, similar to the first game, a very early first dragon picked up here for AL. Obviously, from here on after, it was all WE, so we'll see if this time AL can do something to try and combat that.
And again, having Tarzan ahead and get another Scuttle Crab would be a huge starting point. Smites that away, and that puts him to a very significant point of power. Already half a level up. Make that a full level up in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah,
actually looking at the experience by it's huge. Hope gets exhausted, but about stepping up with Ura, getting a decent chunk. Ari's also on the roam here. Could get very spicy if there's an ult over the wall. Kyle is in danger. No charm thrown quite yet. Tries to bait out a flash, and will get the heal at the very least. Karis gets the kill. 2 stacks on that Dark Seal, and a Hope is forced off the wave, interrupted on the recall with the True Shot Barrage, forcing the Valkyrie.
A lot of value coming out of that. Of course, Shanks does get some free time in the mid lane, but ultimately, a kill picked up. Karis makes great use of his roam timer, uses his ult, gets the kill, and also with that True Shot Barrage denying Hope his recall does mean they lose even more in this bottom side, and a very substantial advantage in gold for the bottom lane this time of WE. It's almost roles reversed from how game 1 was looking.
Is that little bit, again, WE still with that gold lead, and again, the fact they've managed to get that early kill on the Ahri is good news. The point of concern, I think, will be the fact that Tarzan is just doing Tarzan things, which is get an early lead and then really look to leverage it. Has managed to pick himself up kind of an extra third of CS here compared to Monkeys on about, 20 CS down at this point, which is significant in the jungles, particularly this early stage. Monkeys finally hit that level 6, but that full level is going to stick around, especially if Tarzan can keep this pace up, and that matters a lot in the jungle, as we have seen over the last few weeks and patches.
Nice. Flondo dropping a ward on that top side, so it gives more reason for AL to be skeptical of walking up to this wave, and Hope respecting the fact that there could be a Neferi in this bush, and for some reason there is. So Monkey, realizing he's behind and really is just committing to the bit. He's going to lose these grubs now, and actually was an opportunity of Tarzan to realize where he could have even looked for more. He's still here, but Hope pinging out that Neferi could be there. He's gone to the third bush. This is the most insane passage of play.
And look, his whole topside quadrant's up. Tarzan can look in there. They've got to know, because that camp is stayed. They've got a ward on the blue buff, so they know that the Neferi must be bot side, because they're not clearing camps.
He will be able to take Tarzan's bot side potentially, but Tarzan's on the way down here. So maybe just a Gromp. Shanks on the roam.
Tarzan's come over. This will get spicy.
Oh, this is
Everyone's
dicey.
here. There's the charm
Nice
onto Shanks. Force him the other way. They can maybe look over the wall as Tarzan does get a bonk down with the pillar. Monkey steals away a camp. Can now maybe look to fight over this blue buff. Carry still got charges left on the ult. Flash in from Purr with the pop blossom. Shanks is dead and Tarzan follows. Oh, it's superb. The support drop from Weibo, laughing his way to a lead against AL in playoffs. He made the right call.
I cannot believe a Neferi AFKing in bot bush for about 2 minutes results in a double kill and camps for the Neferi. This is the most insane passage of play. And it's something, it's so uniquely them as well. And that's one of the things you can utilize. It's something that I think, honestly, Europe is often the best at doing, is doing things that isn't the status quo. And these teams that are so used to just a standard way of playing League of Legends get taken aback by it.
And it's not like AL aren't good at doing, here's the playbook for jungle. They are a bit of an NFL team in that regards, where actually coach plus Tarzan says, okay, here's the playbook for the early game. We run it this way. And they've got these really creative early strategies. Tarzan getting those early leads then tends to lead to very suffocating game positions for AL when they can make that happen. When it doesn't, AL often look a lot more anemic in the early game. We've had conversations about their laning prowess of late, though again, I do think Flandre on the whole has been stepping up in that regard. Again, the last game, kind of a bit of an anomaly in that regard, but Monkey and the rest of the team have always been willing to say, we're going to do something a little bit weird. We're going to fully commit to this lane push, and basically we don't get the kill on bot, fine. We're going to use all our members here to go invade. We're stronger right now. Let's go.
Yeah, and what an insane passage of play. I mean, honestly, Erha truly
so good.
Finding the pop blossom of all time here. Just immaculate. Everything. Double true shot barrage. The Q goes through both. Absolutely annihilates both of them. And then somehow Monkey's able to get all 3 of those camps. He gets all of his camps. And Just like that, he's well and truly back in the game and ahead. Voltaic Cyclosword now picked up ahead of the second dragon.
There we go.
But as the teleport comes through from Flandre, it should just be claimed.
Monkey has to flash
is
out.
going to have to flash away.
Yeah, nice idea. Couldn't quite get the smite, but Flandre is around, going to get hit by that charm. Cube didn't come on down, so it really was just looking for the smite steal. Monkey can't quite get that there, so it is second dragon for AL, and that is probably the thing that will keep them feeling a little happier in this game. If they get Hexal, it is double Hex Soul games back to back, by the way, then suddenly the game feels a lot different again. You've got a lot of very annoying ways to proc Hexal between Corky Rocket and Rek'Sai Prey Seeker. Gonna have a bit of a play down towards Ura, who speeds themselves away with the heal away from that great ghost ship of the tidal wave. Everyone from WE now turns top, looking across map aggressively, and Flandre is gonna have to do a lot of work to try and stay alive. Flashes initially, the knockup's there, but the Hound's pursuit does the damage required, can drop the aggro. Cube tanks it though, and will Roar of the Slayer and Soul Furnace to ensure that he stays alive just fine, and Flandre dies.
Yeah, well, not game-ending that your Rek'Sai's been targeted and loses a couple of waves. It is ultimately him teleporting down to make sure they get that dragon, and now dying immediately as he returns top is a lot of time away from minions. And I think most importantly, there's a lot of time away that Cube hasn't been. So there should be a pretty substantial XP advantage being formulated from Cube as he has completed that top lane quest, as have both of them. But obviously, speeding up the XP process is going to feel very good for a Scion, who, when he is ahead on levels, is extremely hard to deal with, even for those champs that do have good single target, like the Cassiopeia.
Allow me to do a bit of shilling as well. Got a couple people in chat going, the hell is this Happy PCs counter? What is this? It's the Opera GX sponsorship we've got, guys. Basically, Opera GX in chat with that exclamation mark at the beginning of it, and you'll get the link to come and support me and Alex by having a look at a cool new browser. It's actually completely free. It'll cost you 10 seconds of your time, and if you have a look at it, don't even have to use it for that long. If you go, you know what, it's not for me, all we really need you to do is use our link, give it a look, and if you stick with it, great news. If you don't, you still help support us by downloading it. Basically, if we get a load of people downloading it, we get paid at the end of the month. You get to try out a new cool browser, and if you don't like it, that's also completely fine. But honestly, I've been using it, I've been enjoying it, so please do give it a go.
When was the last time WE were true contenders for an international? Because, like, my mind immediately goes to, like, Xiao Wei Zhao, but it can't have been that long ago, surely. There must have been a time more recently.
They've had a couple moments here and there where they've made deep runs. There was a kind of miracle run that was happening maybe nearly a decade ago now with Teacher Mar on the Galio, kind of making this crazy run where they had a really good regular season. It kind of fell apart a little bit.
Right.
Last year's Split 2 was kind of close as well. Yeah, actually, they had in fact, to be fair, last year they had a bit of a close run. They couldn't quite make it through playoffs. They've gotten momentarily there once or twice. There was some moments with Mystic where it was looking relatively close as well, where he was on good form, but it never really stuck around. I need to go back and look at the exact dates again. Cube dropped the wave, now going top, and actually they're giving the gold to Monkey top, by the way. He got the solo gold for the turret top.
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
Oh no. Ooh, is he going to face check it? They've got to know. Now they step past. Oh boy, he left! And that leaves the bot lane somewhat out to dry. The TP's come about. Has ended up really deep. That was a bit awkward.
Yeah. I don't know how he ended up tanking. He must have landed a Q.
Must have done.
See, but Cube, he should be able to waddle his way away.
Shank's just going to keep running at him there. Won't quite be able to find it. About's in danger. Does have the arcane shift, so actually will be okay to get out. AL traded on that bot lane turret. But the thing is, again, WE are now up nearly 3,000 gold, which is insane. And again, where they've managed to donate that gold is pretty crazy. About is up quietly, 1,200 gold. Monkey as well, despite being double scuttled, triple scuttled, really, in the early stage of the game, is now ahead in farm, up 1,300 gold, just donated first turret blood.
Yeah, I mean, Monkey was down like 20 CS after the second clear and is now up 1.4k. It's such a crazy turn of events. And of course, it was off the back mostly of Erha. I mean, credit to Monkey for being so persistent in that bottom lane, but it was a phenomenal pop blossom by him that really got him back into this game as they look for the rift. Tarzan isn't going to give this willingly, though.
Smites early, trying to read it, doesn't get it. Look at the flank again, Erha! It's just a god on this Nico. They get a petrifying gaze, but it's through an exhaust, so it does nothing. Cube there on the Scion, runs at him, about hits another Mystic shot. But on the other side, Tarzan's done a little bit of work, actually, making this a bit more interesting. Flandra going to get knocked out of his tunnel, and about with the lethal tempo stack will get the triple. Tarzan needs to run away. Watch Karis, doesn't have the flash, can maybe look to slow down Tarzan with the Roar of the Slayer, but they will look for this turret. 4 for 3 in the grand scheme of things. But my God, he's on form today.
Yeah, look, Monkey's picked up a lot of MVPs for this team, but I think if this one gets across the line so far, I mean, Urha's already done enough in this game to convince me that he deserves it. That Pop Blossom was phenomenal. He finds the angle, no vision, 3-man on the back line, really opens up the space for a bout. Monkey dives into the pit trying to take down Tarzan and unfortunately wasn't able to do so, but they do get the Herald. They get a bunch of kills. It's a 3 for 2, 4 for 2 actually by the end of it. And so just continuing to win harder and harder here as they are going to start eyeing up this potential soul point for AL.
It's in the form of the Ahri. They think it's the Ahri.
Wow.
Well, and Karis now spotted, and they just they drop vision. They see the near. They've got him on Tremor Sense the entire time.
There it is. I think no one's paying attention to the Tremor. That has to be what it is because it completely took them aback. Able to land that last Mystic shot.
Oh, Lord. About also just getting to free fire that entire fight. He's now 4-0. Flandra is the one who picks up the kills for WE, which just isn't necessarily who you want. Don't get me wrong. Shojin plus Titanic Hydra is a good spike on the Rek'Sai. You suddenly become a legitimate carry threat, able to blow up some of those squishy members if you get on top of them. But you'd love that on the Corki, on the Cassiopeia. Someone with a bit more consistent threat in the game. That's not bad in terms of
pretty low here, so
yeah.
WE are going to have to try and find a way out. Shanks.
They're 5,500 gold
unfortunate. Yeah, it's unfortunate for Shanks, who is, I mean, ultimately still relatively not strong yet, but will get relatively strong this game. That the person against him that got fed is now the Israel, because that's about the one champion that he cannot really do anything to, and that will just kill him from out of range. So it's a really hard game now for Shanks because of that last team fight and how all the kills just got funneled into that Israel. Because you're pretty much playing, if you're ever trying to walk forward into the Israel as Cassiopeia, you're going to have a rough time.
Overload here.
I mean, it's rough.
Karis has got ult.
Karis.
So I think it's going to be quite tricky. You're going to spot Tarzan coming. There's the smite. Monkey will call the pack and eviscerate away. Does manage to blast going into the river. That's a little bit deep. Will flash away. It's not the best angle, but now Karis looking to come on down himself. Looks for a charm, does land it. Still got the ult to work with. Dodged away from Hope's active range. Monkey needs to jump away. They've jumped onto a bat. Now he's in danger himself. Flashed on in and will likely die. Where's the Void Rush? They're going to get that kill. Monkey goes into the river. Looks to Hound's Pursuit in. Did damage onto Tarzan, but the pillar is in. And AL find a great fight as Monkey got chunked and about somehow got in range of the Rek'Sai, who ended up blasting his head off.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to About, but he just looked completely lost there. It seems like he E'd forwards before discovering the Rek'Sai's there. I'm not sure, but he just got absolutely annihilated without being able to do anything in the fight. And without that Israel being able to contribute, it's just a done deal. It looked like a great collapse initially. Monkey, of course, here gets caught out, has to flash away, does get out, and I think Cube's teleport looks to me like it should be winning. But what happens to About? He just E's randomly, and unfortunately with Flundry's TP, it punishes him completely.
Yeah, I think he E'd to get in range, wanted to be there as the fight was happening now. But because he used that E and didn't have the flash from the last fight, Rek'Sai TP became incredibly dangerous. Monkey tries to get on Tarzan, but again, the fact that he was chunked out so heavily before the fight really kicked off ends up punishing well, and that just drops about 2,000 of that big gold lead. And WE, still with their flaws, guys. They are not a perfect team. For all, the glow-up has been pretty monumental.
Yeah, still up a substantial amount of gold, and ultimately the shutdown going on to the Rek'Sai is actually not that big of an issue, I don't think, for WE, because again, as I said earlier, he doesn't build all that much resistances, so actually they will have the damage to deal with him, as Tarzan gonna have to use that pillar to get himself out and away from the decimating smash.
Yeah, I thought that decimating smash was a sure run thing, but you're right, that pillar was something I hadn't quite calculated for. Tarzan does get by the Dark and Daggers, and the dogs go biting him down. Cube, though, has to flash out of the Aqua Prison again. They have got ways of dealing with these frontliners, but now over the flank comes Karis, gets a good charm onto Tarzan. The two-shot barrage comes crashing on through. Flandra's got deeper to really find what he's looking for. AL look for a few bits here. Some summoners blown, but No one really dies. Cube's flash in particular was the big one there. Subjugate, making Cube a little bit squishier, understandably.
Able to get out, though. Oh, I like this build as well, coming through from Cube here, going for the Spirit Visage second. As you pointed out in the draft, no enchanter for him. The combination of Unending Despair and Spirit Visage makes your Unending Despair heal really
scary,
ridiculous.
yeah.
Exactly. And in a game where you do lose a lot of your attack stats, health, the ability to regen your health actually becomes even more crucial.
Yeah.
So against the Trundle, I think in particular, this is a really, really intelligent build. So I do really like this adaptation, and maybe it is just something that you can go the majority of games, but here in particular, I think it does very well.
Yeah, I think Cube's also going to be a little bit careful about the amount of farm he's been dropping. 144 in 20 minutes isn't superb, and just need to be a little bit careful not to become too out of whack. He's still only at that one item split off for a Bramble Vest, which makes some sense. Again, you're in the Cassiopeia, do a lot of healing. There's an army, the Trundle, the Rek'Sai obviously as well with that passive healing can get quite annoying. And I do think at this point the Rek'Sai's ability to disrupt and threaten people like the Ahri and the Ezreal if they do try to play aggressively makes this a little bit more interesting. Gonna see a dragon started by WE. I think AL want to pick up this top turret if they can. The Trundle is coming on over. About's going to try and take away this blue buff and should be able to nab that before Tarzan can get involved. And that should just allow second dragon over to WE, who are just happy enough to let things slow down. Quick note as well before I hand back over to Vestian. I know I'm talking around a few different points here, but please do check out Karras' inventory. Gone for a very burst-heavy build, which I think is quite wise this game. More importantly, because he's just got that Shadow Flame and the Dark Seal stacks, he is actually going to be doing a lot more than that 300 gold lead might imply. I think the Medjais this game could be very nasty.
Yeah, absolutely. I do like that. I think, and he did it on the Orianna too, where he just went for a very burst heavy, try and get the damage at the very front of the team fight, and I think it works well. Again, similarly to the point about Ezreal being able to deal with the Rek'Sai, well, also the Ahri is going to be able to do a lot of damage to this Rek'Sai because, again, the nature of just building health. And so I do think it's completely fine. I think it's actually good here, as well as to the point of Cube dropping CS. I mean, there's a lot of times this game where it looks like he's overgrouping, but unfortunately for him, there's just been a lot of times where one of the side lanes has just been in a terrible position and they're prioritizing getting that farm onto their carries, which does make sense, but he is paying the price pretty heftily, especially in that XP, because you can be okay with your Scion being down gold, but I think when your Scion's down levels is where things become quite dicey.
Would love to
and
get
you're
at
seeing
least level
here,
14 here, wouldn't he? He's sticky around on that bot lane to pick that up. For that reason, you're completely right. I think also remember they gave a lot of farm over to Monkey to get him back into the game, and now he's 3 items to be fair. So Black Cleaver, Voltaic, Eclipse, that's about as dangerous as it gets. You've got Endless Hunger now and about. So in some ways, you know, the 60 CS lead bot is also very meaningful, right? And that will also be a problem. Tarzan trading well with Monkey, backstep on the Aqua Prison.
I also wonder if this is a game where About could potentially look at purchasing something like a Frozen Heart. I think ultimately against Rek'Sai, Trundle, and Corki it does very, very well. You're not really pressed for damage that much. So it could be an option.
Oh my god, Tarzan's low, has to flash away. The double TPs, the dogs are on, the bleed. Cube's in, Flandre has to try and tunnel away. The Darkened Daggers don't quite land, but that was very, very scary for the Trundle. Without him having his flash, I wonder whether, particularly because it's red side, WE might go, you know, we could start Baron here. Trundle has no way in, there's no blast code, no flash.
How's a dog? Tarzan is sprinting back, though. If the Dead Man's played as well, he's going to get there even quicker. They're going to locate where this Nico is, but without the team in the location, he's not going to be able to do all that much. Flandre looks a little bit isolated, does have to flash away, and the pillar does help him get out too.
Yeah, I don't know whether with the pillar it would still have needed the flash, but I guess it could have been a bit dicey. So good, better safe than sorry. But again, Flandre without the flash, that Rek'Sai becomes a lot less scary to people like the Ahri and the Ezreal. Still got to get out of here as Monkey will call the pack and jump away. Help! And they go, yeah, sure. What do you think the number of the pack is? Plus 44076.
What? I've misunderstood.
Okay, so Neferi calls the pack, and I was wondering what the phone number of the pack was. And I've just clearly confused you, yeah. See, this is why my brain is a bizarre and dangerous place, not safe for mere mortals. So I understand, you know, you're probably doing yourself a favor not to jump into that Cthulian mess.
No, I think it's 67888998212.
All right.
I'm pretty sure.
Right, sorry.
Yeah. Now that I'm caught up to speed with what we were talking about.
It's like, why did I agree to cast with this slightly insane
No,
human?
no, it's good fun. It's good fun. Yeah, really, I'm honestly spoiling for a fight. I think for the side of WE, you really probably can just afford to wait for Karis to get that Void Staff, especially because of how many stacks you have on Dark Seal. A lot of magic resist coming through too, with those 3 Merc Treads already being picked up.
Yeah.
On the side there of AL, so there is quite a lot of value to come through from that Void Staff.
Does mean though that people like About and Monkey are going to be hitting really hard. Like, it's annoying Karis, right? But I think the moment he gets that Void Staff, life feels pretty good. I mean, you'd love to get a Magize, but I do. Ooh, that Petrify case going wide kind of sucks. Will now not be available for this Dragon fight. So point for WE. Reminder if they get there, and they're on a team with an Ezreal who abuses Hex Soul like few others, and also loves Hex Dragons like few others. Attack speed and ability haste. Like, is there a more blessed set of stats for an Ezreal?
No, it is. He is one of the champs that utilize it to its fullest potential, I think, out of every champion in the roster. True Shot Barrage this time does not connect with a squishy, so it doesn't do that massive burst of damage. Keep in mind as well, WE, all flashes available, while Tarzan and Rek'Sai, Flandre, missing out on their flashes here, so it is an advantage in terms of those summoner spells. The dance around this dragon isn't so clear. It's very hard for Shanks to walk in. Still doesn't have access to the Petrifying Gaze either, but Monkey has to be careful.
Yeah, it does indeed. That was close indeed. The damage was pretty nasty. Oh, they go Flash Charm! Oh, it's superb! And the Pop Blossom on the side, they get onto the Cassiopeia! And the snake slithers into a 6-foot hole. They get both carries, and WE, these flank plays, these vision denial engages have just been exceptional. WBG may have made a mistake.
I cannot believe that WE are doing it, and doing it this well as well, but the dragon is going to be contested.
They are, but it's not going to matter. The soul point still secured by WE, and look, they've already started with 3 members on the Baron. They want to get double for 1.
Teleport coming through though, Flandre, he's coming up to join. You see that Cuban Monkey trying to make their way there, and honestly, the members that are doing this Baron aren't doing it that well. Very, very squishy as Flandre just pops up to the sky and pops back down. Cube might die for the sins. There is no alt. Oh my, never mind. That is an insane shield. Oh, the Spirit Visage value. It's so good, this game. It's honestly, I mean, I think Spirit Visage is super underutilized on Sion. And that exact usage of W shows it.
Oh, the Darkin Dagger Charm combo is just disgusting. From the flank, they see him, but it's too little too late. And Shanks gets caught out. And this is what I was worried about when we got into this thing. Look, if it's a front to back, AL feel great, but WE had been so good, especially with a comp like this, about coming from multiple angles and making your team fight shape so awkward.
Yeah, I mean, front to back against Nico, Ari, and Neferi is going to be hard to find ultimately. And so WE playing around their win condition perfectly well, and I mean, a great identification of that ability to flash Charm Hope, take him out immediately. Tarzan.
He's trying.
He's looking.
But he's used his pillars, so we can't interrupt anymore. Now he gets rooted up and gets taken
no
real low. In comes Karis looking for the charm. Lands it onto the Rek'Sai, so not the best target, but still 20% of their HP down. Karis, of course, at this point in the game, pretty low on the cooldown for the ult. The True Shot Barrage comes on down, and WE are making this game, with the one notable exception of that awkward fight in the jungle, look pretty smooth going. This is not the team that was 0-16 in game score. Wipe the slates clean and look at them with a new lens, a new perspective, because they are sure as hell not looking anything like what they did. They have been to the salon, they come out with a fresh new cut, and it looks pretty damn fly.
They're able to take down that mid inhib tower. Looking towards the bot lane inhib now. Gonna be hard to crack without that pressure of mid, but Shanks is trying to deal with that last remaining cannon minion as another wave is quickly approaching.
There's pings on a wall, by the way. I wonder whether they might look for the TP flag. Keep your eyes on that one down the lane. Cube's going to be left real low. Has to ultimate the wall. Just about gets to run away for a second or two, but will likely fall, and does so. They get that one. Comes at cost, of course, of that mid lane inhibitor turret. Monkey on that flank angle, being run at himself, will call the pack. Needs to run over the wall with the Eviscerate. Again, Tarzan pretty damn quick here with the Dead Man's. Makes things a bit scary, but again, because they run towards Monkey, they leave their bot lane inhibitor turret exposed. exposed, but that also means that Monkey's not there, so WE need to be a little bit careful about their spacing. Flandre looking to get behind. There's the pop loss, and Flandre gets a knock up, gets knocked up in turn. Karras needs to ult away, goes down. Damage back is good. The Fusion Barrage. Bao is a monster. Gets to it. Arcane shift away. Needs to keep running. The exhaust. Trying to get Shanks. Can't get it. Era looking to get into here. Keep things rolling. As Monkey's got all the HP. The Nico gets the kill. The Hounds pursued the resets. They just don't say die. WE will never go quietly in a fight. That was a 3v5 for the majority of it.
That is insane. So much damage done by about. Monkey's able to return from the top side of the map and finish out the fight. It's a clean ace. Well, not a clean ace, but an ace nonetheless, as Monkey trying to put the finishing touches of this game number 2, trying to put WE up 2-1
He's not
against
gonna
anyone's
try.
legend.
He's just going to damn well do it. WE, from the depths of winless, absolute despair, their fans wondering what on earth had happened to the once great organization. They were once known as World Elite. They're beating the World Elite one more time. 2-0, series point. They win this game.
You should have a pretty free time for the TF, and of course TF just prints gold, so that's also one thing that Flandre has in his favor. On grass, I don't agree with the grass, but nonetheless, it is what it is.
Oh my god, WE fans.
Newfound.
They have been around. WE is genuinely one of the most popular teams in the LPL, guys. Their fans have been quiet, have been kind of bitter and dismissive for a while, because the team just hasn't been good. There was moments last year where we saw things come to life, and then it all fell apart again this year, and people left. And the last time we saw the Rumble spot was FPX Life. Doc Damon Life, I believe, was who it was. They loved the Rumble support. We used to have a little combo that we used to call Kiana Jones and the Carpets of Doom, where it was Rumble in the bot lane, and the Kiana would come on in, and you just have like this crazy Kiana Rumble equalizer combo. Used to make us smile. No adventure to be found right now, but you've got Kai'Sa, Galio, TF with triple globals effectively, particularly in the mid game once the Kai'Sa ult gets a little upgraded. You can come careening into any side lane you care to mention.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to play the map for WE, but the one thing they have going for them is they have the greatest wave clear champion in the game, which does make it a little bit easier to navigate, I think. Like having that guaranteed push in the mid lane, giving you that ability to roam around is actually very, very helpful by picking this Sivir. And Bard also, just naturally very good at matching sort of shenanigans around the map.
Yeah.
So it isn't all doom and gloom. Sort of on your point of combo names, me and Blue Panda came up with 2 in the LCP. So one of them, and it was more relevant last year than it is this year. I'll preface it, but like the Talia Pantheon, which was very, very prominent last year. We came up with the Great Wall of Sparta.
Yeah, love it, love it. Yeah, that's good, that's good.
You know, it was very, very common for the ults to be used in tandem to some side lane. And then the other one was Vi Ambessa, and we called that one Due Process, because it's cease and desist and public execution.
So, interesting, we had a slightly different one. We called it Cease and Deceased.
Oh, I like that, yeah. Yeah, there you go.
So, but they have a Due Process, and I'll give you that one, that's also good. I'll stick with my one because it makes me smile, and you know, like, you got to hold your own creative process. But you know what? I hear it. I acknowledge it. It's a good option. It's a good option. But we call it the Cease and Desist.
For us, the Due Process was quite funny because, like, when does a cease and desist ever lead to public execution? But you know,
hang on, Karras just flash away, stun back, not quite available. Flash down though, the early gank from the Lee Sin, having gone through that topside river. Monkey is now around, going to try and help hold this wave, defend his Raptor respawn as well. Start on that again, junglers. If you do start on your Raptors before you reset, do me a favor and pick them up on cooldown when they come back up, having done your camps. Has actually already gone for that quick reset and got the early longsword. Actually has, as has Tarzan. Bot lane, about up farm again. Hope is not been having the easiest time in these laning phases. And credit over, they've got the heal, try and get in match with that heal. The barrier's still available, about just fine, and they don't quite get what they're looking for. Tarzan's
yeah, I mean,
Hang on.
I think About just got mega saved by that Cosmic Binding, and...
Why did I guess he was trying to interrupt Ura's back? Doesn't have the wall, or just use the wall. This gets wild. They're going to try and dive this? They are.
So sums are available here for About, but obviously the heal down for Urha.
And actually now Tarzan gets slowed down.
Missing the Cassante TP, so...
Yeah.
I mean, he does have time. His wave is pushed out. And, I mean, what is he going to be doing in the top lane other than sort of suffering? So I don't hate it. It's an option. Your win condition is the Sivir. Make sure she doesn't get put behind. I think that's a pretty smart adaptation.
Yeah, again, they get something for it to AL, right? Like, they don't come away with nothing. They don't get the kill. The TP is nice. And again, if one of their win conditions is Flandre becoming absolutely monstrous on a side lane, Monkey's going to be here, Cassante's here, and this gets a bit more spicy. Doesn't have either of his summoners, by the way. Blown them some point earlier on in this lane, and now he's got to be very aware. Just get the gold card, but there'll be an audacious charge to slow up the Talon Strike, the flash for the footwork into the Pathmaker, and he's just dead! Flandre dies early on in the game again.
Wow. I mean, and Monkey realizing there's a gap in the wave, walking all the way round to the middle bush. There is absolutely no way Flandre expected that to have happened. Catches him by surprise. Cube commits the flash, having already somehow expended both of Flandre's summoners, and it really paying a hefty price. Without that ultimate too, can't get back up to match that wave.
Yeah, he does not run the TP. You're TF, you'll have your own ult. You'll get that for free later on, and that will mean all the work that makes all the difference. So early on, he's finally got level 6, but it's too late. He doesn't have it. I think he was trying to stick around to get the 6 before resetting. Doesn't have it. It's gone for the cull now, but that lead that's supposed to be built up, remember, you've got TF passive to work with. It's not there right now. Hope's managed to get a slightly bot side, probably because of that plate he picked up from earlier shenanigans. He's got the cull as well, but I think About happy enough here. Tarzan needs some moves, but not to any actual gold lead advantage. Carrot's going to throw down the ult, and they can maybe look at this. In we go with the audacious charge. The wind becomes lightning, does go wide. Out comes the incinerate. Flash for the taunt. The gold card comes in. Tarzan over the wall. The pressing guard to try and disengage. The CC chain is good.
Oh my god!
Phenomenal from Monkey. Flash for the kick. Carrot are looking for some CC chains. Shank's reminder doesn't have the flash. Cube's come down with the all out. He's going to go hunting.
Cube cancelled. Cube cancelled the TP, and Monkey with such an amazing Crescent's Guard. Oh my lord, WE are absolutely on one right now.
They have just been superb. It really could have been. I mean, what can you say? That Crescent Guard knocks one away. Cube interrupts. The synergy, the trust, and the clutch. The clutch is here.
Wow. I mean, we have to see where Flandre was using that ultimate from, because if he made it to that mid play, this game was in a really rough position. But because he didn't, because Cube was able to cancel that teleport, the game is saved. Monkey with such a fantastic ultimate, truly saving the day here. Shanks goes in aggressively. Tarzan obviously able to get over the wall, and there it is. Doesn't even need to use the ult, just Qs him.
Oh, it's so well played. And then, of course, Tarzan has to flash, gets nothing with the kick. Shanks has come back in, dies and gives over a kill to the Annie. And with Cube roaming down as well, even if he got out the other way, we'd have been giving a kill to the Cassante.
I mean, it has to be someone's way. Flandre is just playing a relatively terrible series so far. That's a mistake that you really can't afford to make, because the mid play entirely relies on you being able to make it down there. And so queuing, the fact that Cube didn't even have to use ult to cancel it, it was just simply a Q, is befuddling to me.
I mean, I'm there with you. I'm there with you. It's kind of falling apart. WE again with the early gold lead. This is now becoming a genuine trend. I would love to see a statistical discrepancy from basically the beginning of playoffs to the regular season, because I think the stats would be remarkably different. That would be a huge drastic shift. Monkey's going to take, I think, 2 here, but then come mid just to shield Karis off.
And this is actually, as we'll see if they're able to stop this dragon. It's something I'm wondering about in 16-11 and onwards, if we continue to see, because currently it is quite common to just take the 2 and then go try and defend your bot side, take the dragon or whatever it may be. But Grubs are getting a pretty significant buff coming forward as this blue buff becomes a pretty big point of contention.
TP. That's going to be the Casante behind. Can they find anything of this? Remember, Cube doesn't have his flash quite up. Kyle could still be in danger. Flash away from the rumble. Shanks doesn't have his. Flandre's rode down to get to this play. So you'll get a flash and the heal off the rumble to get out there, but successfully defend the blue buff. You get the extra summoner. They're going to group up for this dragon as a result, with Flandre having roamed down. I suspect, actually, here comes the gold card. Casante now going to retreat back a little bit, saying, hey, we do need to stick around, get through that magical journey, and it'll be all over. Destiny Gate burnt.
That looked like it was almost going to be one of those scary moments where you put down the portal and then you just start dancing at the entrance instead of going through it, but eventually makes his way through. His top laners will head back to their lane. And I think great usage of the teleport so far from Cube. And while neither of them have netted anything in particular, they've made sure that the play that could have been a bit dicey is just secured. No one loses anything on their team, because ultimately he is just a bridging champ this game. He's not trying to play for anything other than to make sure they can get to the point in the game they need to be. And in particular, that is about. And so far, absolutely all good.
Yeah, it is, exactly. And again, look, they're up 2 kills, up a little bit of gold. Again, the gold lead is going to be a little bit fake because Flandre's there kind of messing with the numbers a little bit. TF, again, he's a cheater. He's a card shark. He stacks the deck, quite literally, is going to be able to do that. But again, TF is balanced around having gold. He is an item-dependent champion who literally has his kit balanced around the fact he gets extra gold. A little bit like Gangplank is, honestly, as another champion with Bilgewater dodgy shenanigans. But the Casante, relatively happy. Look, down a bit of CS, so be it. You know what you picked here. You managed to keep the TF down. You managed to get involved with the rest of the map to maybe not your own advantage, but to keep 30 things rolling, and your mid-jungle have benefited about is more than happily within touching distance. Life looks good here for WE and AL. Yeah, the comp in mid-game is going to be very potent, but I do need to see them get value out of these globals, especially because the early usage of them has been relatively lackluster. I think it's fair, not even relatively, just lackluster.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a well-played game so far from WE, but it does, as you point out, in the mid-game is where you really do get tested. And how good are you at playing around the map? As they do see Tarzan jumping into that bush. There's no flash on this rumble.
Oh, in they go with the Galio, though. This makes it a bit spicy. About gets out. Monkey's a little deep, but it's got the Crescent Guard by the time. Remember, Kyle's left low. The kick back. In they go. Tarzan gets that one. This was pretty good for AL. Suddenly, Monkey low, but not quite down. Trying to go to the home. He's got the barrier. About now jumped on. Tarzan flashes. Gets the Sonic Wave, and it's a wonderful fight from AL. Hopes and dreams of WE suddenly shattered.
It looked almost like it was going to be good, and then Tarzan with that Dragon's Rage able to find a magnificent kick, and they punish it so well. Hope comes flying in with that killer instinct. More than enough damage. As soon as Karis topples, all the dominoes fall thereafter. It looked so good. It looked like it could have been. For that Q landing, a good chunk onto a bout, and the equalizer right in the middle of everything leaves Monkey, unfortunately, very isolated.
He is legitimately one auto of killing off Kyle. Doesn't get it, otherwise that would be in Triumph. We'd been playing a very different game, and it gets a bit messy. Burn a lot to make that happen. Remember, all the globals now down. Kyle needs to speed himself away. Gets the hill, but the wind becomes lightning lands. That means it's another slow, and he will likely now just die. The Incinerate, powered up by that stun, comes on through. I think it's Disintegrate on Q, Incinerate on W, but I never do remember. Yes. They are very similar.
Yeah, no, I think you did get it correct. But a nice little pick found this time, finishing off that rumble. In a bit of a peculiar position ultimately, as Hope now has that item spike come through, so is looking to leverage that.
He's got a cull as well, right? Like, this cash is in, things get spicy. Tarzan here about with the barrier and a little bit of a dream. The teleport comes on through. They've got TP behind. Is here. They've hopped away. Hope doesn't have that much to work. The flash for the Incinerate. Hope gets punished. Tempered Veil to Tarzan, who's not got cooldowns. There'll be a Q through the wave. Tarzan stunned. WE look like the team with the globals.
What a collapse, and all of it possible too because of a bout's just one sidestep. On that Sonic Wave, they punish it so well. Monkey's also going to claim himself a tower, played in some waves in the mid lane, but Karis teleporting down, saving about and turning it around.
Monkey now likely dead, actually, with that Crescent Guard coming on forwards to buy a little bit of time. Does just about get out of range. Can look for another jump in, does have to go back because there was no way out and dies. Nice gold card. Sorry, Destiny Gate down with the gold card active. That's the way we phrase that one. And they pick off Monkey, who went to try and get a little bit more off the map and gets punished for it well.
Yeah, lane assignments getting a little bit tricky now, as we are going to see Hope go up into that top lane. Honestly, though, a game in a perfectly playable state for both of these teams. Only 400 gold lead for AL, despite the cheating of gold that Flandre finds. So I think perfectly manageable for WE ultimately, as it stands. Although, again, these globals can become an issue. We've seen it happen once before down that bot lane. It was WE immediately able to turn it back to put us in an even game state, but they have to be really on top of where people are in this map. Otherwise, things will get extremely difficult to play.
And again, the support Rumble's got towards the rocket belt. Obviously still going to be quite useful in terms of just the raw-based damages. Rumble's always been there. But again, one of the reasons we don't see him in the support role so much is he does roll into that Heimerdinger position of being quite catchable. Just needs to be a little bit careful as Era, who's got his own ways to dodge out with the magical journey. They'll know that Tarzan's around. Monkey's now going to come on up. We'll get hit by the Electro Harpoon. And over towards the red buff we go. We might well be fighting this, but I think WE go, you know what? Very dark space to walk into. We're going to pass on that one, thank you.
Yeah, makes sense. They get themselves a plate at least in the bot lane while that all occurs. So it's not all for nothing. As Karis, once again, 3 games in a row, just going to go very upfront, burst-heavy build. I'm assuming this alternator will turn into an eventual proto belt.
Would make sense.
Extending the range on that Annie engage.
Hello, hello. Oh, hello, analyst in chat. Indeed, Molecule is here to watch a mystery. Also a lovely guy. Do make sure to say hello to Molecule. Follow him on Twitter if you're not, by the way. One of the most interesting people to follow if you are a LoL esports enjoyer. Does some really creative discussions on builds and what people are doing around the world. Rumble never builds support items. Yeah, no reason to play. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, exactly. He's never going to build anything like that with roll damage. How do you feel about Rumble support right now? I think there's, like, obviously allow them to get the flex of the TF top into the Cassante, which I think is quite a nice matchup, right? Flandre obviously didn't have the best start to the game, but it's now in a good spot. So, I see the thought process there. Exactly. That was my understanding, was it just to get the better matchup for Flandre. But nice to see some confirmation there. I mean, Rumble support is something that Kyle enjoys, and it's not like a bad pick per se, but it's not exactly where you'd like the Rumble to be.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think it's really achieved all that much this game. But, I mean, if all it achieves is getting yourself a good TF matchup, then that, you know, that might be enough. I will say I don't think this TF matchup has been leveraged all that well. We found one successful play in the mid lane, but a lot of failed attempts, and honestly a bit of almost baiting with that one that went so poorly earlier on in the game. Not that he baited necessarily, but it turned into. Yeah,
exactly. It wasn't very masterful, so to speak. Hope potentially in danger here. Remember, he does have a Galio behind him. Might be forced some of those call-outs. Oh, he's just dead. Oh my days.
Yeah, that 400 odd Galio shield is not saving you from all that burst, as the Destiny Gate is going to be used, but nothing really to find off the back of it.
Without your AD carry here as well, I think they might have to equalize this wave. Maybe it's not even going to be enough. They're going to lose this turret, I think, with the 3 grubs. So that equalizer feels a little bit late to the play, honestly. Now Shanks is going to have to try and jump away. They burn beyond the hunt. They don't quite get the stun. The shielded around will buy some space.
Yeah, threatening. They're going to be able to pick up this dragon regardless. Although Tarzan is coming up and Flandre is in the area. Cube might be having to TP down, as he has once again gone for an early Spirit Visage, similar to the Scion, right? You have the E on the Cassante, so it does find value just inherently.
Tempered Fate is dodged with the rocket belt. Dragon taken by Monkey. This gets a bit spicy. Out comes the Disintegrate from the side of Karis, who's burning a lot of time. Cube with a monster shield. There's the Herald here as well. All out! And that gets Karis had to flash away. Importantly, Shanks just about fighting on the other side. They get the kill onto someone. Didn't see who it was. It was Monkey eventually. But I think at this point, the rocket belt flash! More power, more damage, more fire! As WE are burning down the barn, and AL look a little bit lost as Karis with the speed up on the Molten Shield on the Q press. And the Rumble overheats as the fire melts the chassis.
It's a very dicey fight, but again, well played by WE to come out slightly on top. The smite fight comes down to a 50-50 that typically favors the Lee Sin, but it's Monkey able to get it. Karis on the side, stopping Flandre from doing all that much. And Shanks as well. Not a whole lot of value on the Galio ult on this occasion. Cube not able to get Flandre either, as he does flash away, but it's so much committed and about just hitting as much as he can until they eventually can turn it around. Good flash by Hope.
Yeah. Still ends up just about getting out there. The problem is Kyle falls, and you get the dragon, you get the kills. WE now feeling relatively okay. Look, they're down a little bit of gold, but again, where is that gold? We have to track it. Karras up a lot in this early stages here. And actually, Monkey's going to look at Flandre, trying to attack this global and steal away some Gromps and keep Tarzan up. Again, this Lee Sin is not necessarily taking over the game, which I think Tarzan was hoping for. There's a collapse coming, about joining up with the rest of the squad. This gets a bit spicy. It's a good equalizer. About throws the on the hunt. Where's the gate to follow the destiny? Not used towards that topside wave instead. A couple ults traded, but no one wants to fully commit. Hang on, now we might actually look. A Tempered Fate. Tarzan has to backstep. Nicely done. Cube in a 1v2, maybe a 1v3 actually shortly. Gets a pullback all out. That's not bad onto Hope, puts him into a dangerous spot. The magical journey makes things interesting. Gets towards the Mega Blasco. There's a stun onto Era, but look where Monkey is. Now he's on the side. Cube goes back in with the monster code. Monkey with the flash for the knockup. Out of the Galio ultimate. They keep running. Tarzan looks to get in. The slow comes on down. Tarzan misses his Q. Kyle left low. Shanks gets a bit of a stun. That's decent. The Winds of War. The big ground slam. But Karras has killed off another. And all the while the damage keeps rolling. TF has killed off Cassandre, but Sivir has murdered their opposite number. Flandre slow by that cosmic binding. It's so close. There's a stun of a
card. It's a red card.
He can keep murdering more. Addy is a psychopath through all those horror movies. The Exorcist, where are they?
Love it. Flandre pulls up a red card so Monkey can just fly on in. They are able to take yet another fight. The Baron's gonna fall after, and WE are so close to 3-0ing AL.
It's actually happening. LNG are going to be looking at this saying, see, we told you they were good. They're looking down in Nevada going, how on earth did we wake the dragon? What on earth has happened? Maybe an attempt at a steal here. There is no smite on Monkey. It's worth noting. They've got a magical journey, which will not time out. Worried for a second there. They'll reset. Let's have a look at this play again, because Cube, I thought he was isolated, and he just buys all the time in the world.
When he W's in, I thought he was just a dead man, but he's able to land the Q3, which is his only escape, honestly. If he doesn't land that, things look a whole lot worse. But following forward, Monkey, he flashes in, gets the immediate Gully ult, and has the movement speed with that Annie shield to actually get himself out. Cube, not got the angle on the W there, does just send and die, but it's about, with these ricochets ticking, the Tibbers finishes the deal onto Kale, and one ricochet lands. Hope goes down, and Flandre, red card locked, just allows Monkey to do whatever he will.
Send him off. That's not it. We're back to live now. Baron's been taken. Gold leads there for WE. They can begin to leverage a bit more pushing. They're going to try and get onto Cube. I just don't think this Cassandre is going to be all that much of a valid target right now. They've got 3 members here, but About's now come on over. Sonic Wave lands onto a caster minion. Nothing valuable at all. And that's really the end of that play. And all the while, Karras just been happily shoving bot lane.
Karras 6-1 and 4 on the Annie. Going to be able to, alongside Monkey, take down this top, or rather bot, in a tower. Minion wave will then crash in as Cube. Trying to do the same with mid lane, but with 2 people answering him, it's a little bit harder.
Do you believe in miracles?
Annie.
Tarzan is on vision. They know he's there. And you can see where is standing, where Monkey's standing. They're jumping him. Whoa.
They're looking.
Can't find it. Valid. Turret. Loses the play at 2.
Hard for them. Hard for them to clear out these super minions. Or these rather cannon minions with that Baron buff. That's going to be the Protobout used. But Flash still there for Karras. As Annie really is the person to watch as Cube looking for some trades in the mid lane.
Quite annoying, actually. That Spirit Visage buying a lot of time. Heals, hit by that Sonic Wave, afraid of a potential look in. Tarzan trying to bait something out. Fancy mechanics there. Interrupts his Resonating Strike with a swift ward hop combo. But that's really all it is. And look, style points mean nothing in the grand scheme of losing the game. You're down 4,000 gold. Dragon's up. They're going to try and jump on a Cube here a little bit. That's decent damage. We'll get to Pathmaker and Footwork away if they need to. AL want to keep hunting this? They do. Monkey's got interrupted. That Rocket Belt buys a bit of time. Sivir has left. They wanted to reset, I think. I'm not sure they're going to get the opportunity. It would only be second Dragon. So I think WH is going to say, look, we're happy with the gold. They are TPing in, so maybe they are wanting to play this. But that means they've not spent a lot of the gold they just earned.
I think the situation is they still feel stronger as Monkey's going to get isolated, but it's Shanks that's going to go down.
Tempered Fate forced to flash off Hope, and now they can turn onto the Dragon. Hope Tarzan's going to have to leave. He can't stand here. Doesn't get that one. It's a little bit of an early smite, but will not leave. Flash over from Cube, looking for it. Karis is behind as well. Going to get jumped on and dead. That's a bit far. But all Wildcards had to flash, and he now likely dies as well. 4v4. We can hunt for more damage. It's a lot of the gold, though, gone because Karis was a fairly significant portion of it. Flash Wind becomes Lightning, Audacious Charge. Gold card lands. Get to that point where you do get them off cooldown pretty rapidly. Kyle's still slowed down. Will likely fall. The Dragon's Rage means nothing. The Dragon looks a little bit pathetic in this game, don't they? It's a young one, perhaps. Mortally wounded in this game.
We need to leave the blast cone flanks to our support. That was the worst look I think we could have looked for. But nonetheless, they do trade a 1-for-1. It's a big shutdown that unfortunately does go over to AL there, but still they get the Dragon. Not that Dragon is really much of a conversation this game. It's likely just going to come down to what this next Baron looks like.
I'm just saying, tenacity though into TF feels pretty annoying, and actually to the Galio stun as well. Like, how do you get back in this game as AL? Well, probably a good gold card combo into someone like Sivit, but more tenacity sounds really annoying for that. And actually, Abow's just picked up a QSS anyway.
Yeah, Spell Shield and QSS, so your first in, being a gold card, is already not an in because it just gets Spell Shielded, and if you do somehow flash onto a Vigalio, well, that's getting QSS'd. So, I mean, a pretty impossible task to deal with this Sivir as things stand. And you're just seeing in these fights how much damage About can do by not even hitting the carries. Just hitting anyone, the ricochets will do the rest of the work, while, I mean, Annie can just threaten the whole time. All we got to really do is not send like last time. He did importantly keep his flash, so forward momentum still can be found here. The threat is still well and truly on the side of WE as they look to close out a very swift trio.
And they've done it in style, haven't they? About even got to go Yuntal Wild Arrow seconds. It's not done yet. It'd be remarkably LPL for it all to go wrong now, wouldn't it? But still, all the while, TF shoving away in that picture-in-picture, trying to get as much gold on the cross map as they can. But again, they're tier 3 under siege.
Tarzan.
Relatively consistently. Here comes
Tarzan.
Looking for it. They spotted him. They've
They
spotted
find him.
And all the while, Cube's in the base here, a little bit deep. Just have to be a bit careful. Takes a fair amount of damage. Pathmaker's away. Look at Tarzan on that flank and look to get him. Monkey then jumps over on top of him, though. And the 3 talents, right, makes things a bit spicy with that Titanic Hydra, the rapid stack of the Q. Makes things tricky.
Now they're still going to look to try and take down this inhib tower. A couple autos will do it. There it is. Shanks. I mean, this is one of the roughest games to be a Galio in. As soon as things go wrong, what can you really do? They're looking in. Flandre.
They get all the damage you could ask for, and Flandre just gets melted. The Tempered Fate lands on 2. Hope springs eternal, but he's springing into the enemy team. Hope tries to buy some time, but the killer instinct really should have been a prey instinct. The fight or flight response is all wrong, and anyone's legend becomes someone's chowder. WE make mincemeat of it. Do you believe in miracles? WE do. They move to the upper bracket from 0 and 16 in games to 1 and 13 in series to upper bracket finals.
Nobody would have believed you if you hadn't said this would be the storyline, but here we are. WE 3-0 and a